If you watch my Instagram, you'll know I put the REO Trikeabout together, and I had it sitting in my living room so the paint could dry. It came out really nice. I'll take it out. It's raining out. We just had a bunch of crummy weather, but once it's dried up and the sun's come out, I'll get some good video of it outside. You can see I put the pedal foot pegs on and the little hand grips and that. All the lettering came out nice. The throttle control works really nice. Got the Trikeabout painted on and all that. These I buffed up. I was working on the belt, getting it statically adjusted so I can run it, so we can ride it and make a video of riding it. Now, and obviously the wheels turn so REO is upside down. But we'll get some good video of it once we get it outside. But anyway, here's some video of putting it together. I haven't got the decal made for the very front here yet. That's the only thing I have left to do. I painted the drain plug red true to REO lawnmowers. I did oil the air cleaner too, like it states to do. But I was working on getting the belt static adjusted, and like I say, there's going to be video of just doing things that, you know, that I don't know, it's just bolting things together just isn't, to me, just throwing it together. It took 15 minutes to put it together, but I had to sand the paint off. You'll see that in the little clips I put up of a few minutes of clips of putting it together. But I had to sand the paint off the axles to get the wheels on. But as you saw, I changed the bearings in these wheels. And I think I bent this wheel when I was changing the bearings because the wheel wobbles. When I'm trying to statically adjust the belt, it makes a difference where I turn the wheel and I spun the wheel, and you can clearly see a wobble. So I'm going to pop the wheel off and put some of that leftover steel rod that I made the axle with in my vise, and try and straighten the wheel out enough to where it doesn't wobble. So that's going to be in the video after I show some of the video of putting it together. Now, yeah, this Trikeabout's been together for a week. Like I say, it's been sitting in my living room where it's warmer, you know, all the time, and that way the paint could, you know, it'd help cure the paint. So anyway, let me get to it here. I was just starting to put the Trikeabout together a little bit, just because I need to. And anyway, I got one of the wheels installed. That looks amazing. Got the disc brake caliper on there. This wheel, I had to sand all the paint off the shaft. I guess I should have masked them, but I didn't. The original Harbor Freight bearings fit that kind of loose. The new bearings fit it nice and snug, so I gotta sand the paint off. I did that with some 320, so I'm gonna sand that one off now and get the wheel fitting. But I gotta put the engine on before I put the wheel on, because in order to thread the muffler, and the muffler kind of swings out and will hit the tire if it's on. So I just got to have the tire off, put the muffler on and off, which is no big deal. So I'm going to get the pulley on that wheel and get the engine. I got to drain the oil out of the engine because I want to put this tube on, and I want to put thread tape. There's no thread tape on that plug, and it just seeps ever so slightly enough. Just keep it oily around here. And that will go in there, and the engine sits up on these rubber mounts. I think the tube will clear that, hopefully. If it doesn't, well, we'll just put some Teflon tape on that plug and put it back in, and that's how we'll drain the oil. I'll just make a bit of a mess, but how often I'll change oil, and it won't be very often, as I doubt I'll run it a heck of a lot. But anyway, let me move along, get that other axle shaft sanded out so that tire will fit, and then I'll start installing the engine. Fairly easy to sand it out. I just took some of my 320 off the roll. This is like to adhere to the air file. It's adhesive on the back, but anyway, I just kind of go around it like so. And as you can see, it takes the paint off really, really quick, so the wheel fits on nicely. Alright, so I'll just go around and do this to the rest of the shaft, and then we'll get the wheel. See how it just takes it right off. No problem. So let me just continue sanding it here and get the wheel on. There we go. The Trikeabout is hopefully going to turn out okay. There we go. Well, here I'll turn it the other way so you can... Yeah, that's going to look really nice on my REO Trikeabout. You can see I've been starting to assemble it. Alright, let me get back to working on assembling. Now it's nice and straight. Yeah, before it was... Should have videoed it, but before it was like that. Not quite as bad as I was exaggerating a little bit, but that runs nice and smooth now. Tire's out of balance, so maybe I ought to balance it. What do you think? I don't think it turns fast enough to worry about, but like if you put it wherever, see it always settles to one, always settles there no matter where I put it. Yeah, but anyway, we got nice tight bearings. See, there's no wobble in it. Before, man, that thing would, you could wobble it a 1/4 inch back and forth with the Harbor Freight bearings, but with the new mini bike bearings, that thing's nice and true. And I only got about 20 pounds air in the tires, so hopefully it'll, you know, with my fat rear on it, maybe it'll smush this down to where all the tread, it looks like all the tread is wearing, because I can see that looks like it's been riding on the ground as well as that. If you overinflate them, then just this part hits and that wears out, and this will be perfect. So you got to get the inflation to where it just kind of wears evenly. And when these tires wear out, I'll put some like mini bike wheels or something on it, but I probably won't ride it much, so you know, this is more to a look at me type of thing, but I wanted it to function. And also want to, as long as before I take it out in the sun and do some nice video of it, I want to thank 805 Road King, and I'll leave a description link in his description for one of his videos. He's restoring a 64 Ford F100 pickup right now, and he's playing a me. When I did my 69 Chevy Custom 10 pickup, it started with a leaky windshield, and I pulled the windshield because there was just a little tiny bit of rust at the top, one edge, and I thought, well, I'll pop it out and clean the rust up, and that rust turned into a hole, and I welded it up and repainted the roof, and the roof looks stellar, and it really made the rest of the truck look bad. I'll put a photo maybe right here of that truck before, and then I'll put another photo of it. I'll put a photo here of it at Straight State Park at the St. Ignace Auto Show. I towed the travel trailer up north. Before I restored the truck, I was always hauling stuff, towing stuff. My dad used to tow his Four Winds 245 Vista with that pickup because he bought this. It was the biggest boat you could legally trailer on the road, I think, at the time. And, you know, the vehicle, like, without oversized stuff. But when he bought it, he used all he had was his 72 Ford Country Squire still, so he used that to tow it. And it was entertaining when you'd go to launch ramps. People would stand there waiting for him to pull this thing out of the water with that boat just dwarfed the station wagon. And people would stand around waiting to see if that car could pull it out, and it pulled it out every time, no problem. It towed it really good, but it was just too much boat for that car, so he started using my Chevy pickup until he bought a 4-wheel drive Suburban with one of those creeper gear 4-speeds. He could put it in 4 low and granny gear, and dump the clutch without touching the accelerator, and it would pull that boat out of the water. Yeah, that thing was amazing. But anyway, this is a thank you to Road King for sending me I used the float, the bowl, pin. He sent me a Model N carburetor for parts because this was missing some of the float stuff here. And I assumed I got this thing going, and it was popping through the carburetor, and I'd pull a flywheel and clean the points, and it would run good, and it would start popping again, and then I'd change the plug, and I think that might have taken care of it. But the flywheel key, I think, was the issue. I think the flywheel, I'll show you. I made a new key. I couldn't find. I had a ton of keys, flywheel keys, but I didn't have the right size, so I made one, and I'll show you why I think that it was the flywheel key. And if you really look at it, hopefully see how it has a notch worn in it? I mean, that's pretty worn there on both sides. And I think this key was cocking over sideways enough, allowing that flywheel to slip back enough, maybe when I stalled the engine or something, you know, by engaging the clutch too quick. And I think the flywheel was slipping on the crank, and it was coming out of time with the points in the magneto, and it was causing it to pop through the carburetor. So I made a flywheel key and put it on, and hopefully, I'm hoping that takes care of it. We'll see when we crank it up. But it's got, I put one of those new sets of points condenser I showed in it. I put a new set of points condenser in it too. I had it apart to do the flywheel key. So the engine end, I put a more modern Champion J11 spark plug in it, because I think that other one corroded around the top there, might have caused some corrosion down in here, and I think that was also an issue too. So we changed the plug also. But anyway, let me get this wheel back on, and once we get some nice weather, like I say, I'll do some video of it outside, and we'll give it a little run and see how it goes. And then one day I want to take it out to my brother's where I have some room and really run it. And I mean run it, give it a good run, see how everything works on it. But anyway, I'm happy with that. That pulley is nice and true. The wheel's nice and true. And like I say, I just kind of grabbed and really twisted where it needed it, and got it pretty much all nice and straight now. There's Road King's channel. Go check it out. As long as I'm yapping here, another video, you know, I like to build things like this. So, you know, I'm just going to do a little bit of yapping here. I got the wheel back on, and it drags the belt nice and evenly all the way around, just turning it by hand. I got to, I'll have to take it out. Like I say, it's raining today, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow, but maybe the next day it'll be nice enough to where we can get it out and give it a nice little run in the driveway here. And then, like I say, in the future I'll take it out to my brother's and we'll do some video of it there. But yeah, I've been having fun building this. This is one of my more fun builds I've done. I've been wanting to build one of these for 30 plus years. And, you know, I've always said, well, if I find an engine or if I find a tricycle. And I go to estate sales all the time, and I got this engine in an estate sale. And I'll put a photo of here what it looked like. It was frozen this side, the gas tank, and this part of the engine was frozen into the mud. And it was buried in snow. This side was facing up, and it had the rope pulley. And I saw a little bit of the pulley and a little bit of the blower housing poking through the snow. And I thought, oh, that's a REO engine. So I brushed some of the snow off, and it turned over. So I thought, oh, I'll go see what they want for it. And I went and found the guy. He said, hey, he wanted $5 for it. And I went to pick it up. I'm like, it's frozen into the ground. The heck with it. He went and got a pry bar and pried it loose from the ground. And he's like, give me $2 and it's yours. So I did buy it. I bought $8 worth of stuff that day, but I paid $2 for the engine. And I got it home and got it running that day, and that's in my past videos. I'll put a link in the description to that video. And then I rebuilt the engine, and I think that was 5 or 6 videos, and they're in my past videos. And then it sat for a year, and then I found the Tricycle. I started actively looking for Tricycle and estate sales after I got the engine done. And I found, I saw a cool one in one of the estate sales, so I went to it and was able to purchase it. And I don't remember, I think I paid $20 or $25 for the Tricycle. And I'll put a picture of that right here from like when I got it, so you can see what it looked like before, so you kind of get some before and afters. And a lot of the stuff I used on building this I got from estate sales too, the Dremel that I was using and whatnot. But anyway, we'll do it, like I say, we'll get some nice video of it outside. And I like seeing people building stuff, and I would watch Jeep 2003's videos a lot because he was always building cool stuff, similar to this, and he's made a lot of neat stuff. You should go check his videos out. He doesn't post many videos anymore, but he used to post them all the time. He made this walking machine that's ultra cool. I'll put a link to that video in the description if I can find it. And another one that I like is Macro Machines. I'll put a link to his channel in the video. He's building an aluminum bodied car from scratch. He was going to use a flathead Ford in it, but he ended up using a Jaguar engine in it. And I'll put a link to that in the description too. Those are the kind of things I like, and like Cold War Motors with that one car he's building. And of course his 60 Fury. That thing was just amazing what he did with that. That car was almost beyond parts car condition, and look at it now. Yeah, I can appreciate that. When you can make chicken salad out of chicken poop, yeah, you got some talent. Scott's got some serious talent there at Cold War Motors. But anyway, I'm just going to ramble on a little bit more here about various different things too. Another thing is this pinstriping and the Trikeabout and all this. I was really tickled at how well those came out in this. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better job, and that was the help from Jeremy at Noonan Studio. I'll put a link to Noonan Studio in the description. He doesn't have a lot of videos up, but he has some good ones. He's a college professor, and he teaches stuff like, how to do stuff in, fibers and design and whatnot. And I'll put a link to his Noonan Studio in the description. And you saw some of the video I did on this. Originally this was going to be red vinyl, and I just wanted paint instead. And I thought if it works for the green here, it'll work for the red here. And as long as the red didn't react, because that's Rust-Oleum on automotive acrylic enamel. So I was kind of hoping that there wasn't a paint reaction, and when I did it on that test bit, there wasn't. And so yeah, that made it possible to paint all the lettering on. So we're moving along with the project here. I think, like I say, I think it's pretty much all finished. I just gotta do a final adjustment on the clutch. I think I got the brake pretty good. I could do that without running the engine. But like I say, we'll fire it up in a day or two. I just wanted the paint to dry a couple of days, week or so at least. It's a couple weeks preferably. It takes acrylic enamel about a month to cure completely properly. And I like to let it dry at least minimum of 2 weeks before I really start handling it. I don't want to sit my butt down on the seat and leave an imprint of my clothing or something, fibers in the paint, if it's still somewhat soft, because like I say, it really takes a month to really harden and cure to where it's really ultra durable. That's what I like about acrylic enamel, is it's ultra durable paint. It just lasts and lasts and lasts. And there's a perfect example. 41-year-old paint job that was painted under a shade tree in my dad's backyard. So essentially from the back of the tire here to the front of the tire there, it's 42 inches. And from the ground to the top of the handlebar is 31 inches. And the width, the widest width, which is from the outside of that tire to the outside of that tire, the gas tank is actually just inside it. I don't know how it looks in the video, but it's about that far inside of the tire, and that width is 23 inches. So, you know, maybe I'll have to get a Parkwood station wagon or something so I can haul this around car cruises. As of now, I'll have to use the pickup. It's 15 years old, and it's still like a new truck. I mean, it's amazing the condition it's in. I'll show you the underneath of the truck. I think you'll be floating. A little dirty, but this truck is 100%, absolutely 100% original. I've done nothing to it. All right, I got it static adjusted to where it rolls nicely with the clutch disengaged, and then when I engage the clutch, it's staying right where it is. So yeah, and when I'm squeezing up, that's engaged, and that's like not really doing much more. So I don't know, I might have to loosen it up a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't creep, but if it does, I can take a little bit out of here or a little bit out of here. I put the one size longer belt on it so I could shift the engine forward. That way these cables wouldn't hit the frame, and it just looks nicer with the engine a little farther forward. I put it had a 38 and an 1/8 inch belt on it, I think, and I put a 38 inch and 3/4 on it, and that made all the difference in the world. I picked up a proper mower belt because that's an automotive belt, and I thought, well, I'll put this one's 38.5 inches, but you can see it's a narrower belt. It fits down in that pulley nicely, but it works on that pulley great, but the engine pulley is too wide for it, so I'll have to see if I can find a skinnier, maybe even a smaller engine pulley, and I can use that belt, and that'll slow it down just a little bit. It moves, you know, it's not like super fast, but it goes fast enough. I mean, you know, if you're going to go to a car cruise or something where you want to ride it around at, you don't want to be mowing people down. You don't want to be ripping along at 20-25 miles an hour. So that's kind of why I made it go a little slower, and it'll be fine if I do take it out during the Woodward Dream Cruise. It'll keep up with traffic on Dream Cruise Day, no problem. Traffic just kind of crawls. That screw, the screw here, found out what that's for by doing a little research. I've never had a REO with it on it, but they either put leather or rubber that would stick out, so when it's spinning it would fly around here and keep the grass clippings from hitting and sticking to the screen. This doesn't rotate, it's just stationary all the time, so stuff would suck to it, and that spinning around would flick the stuff away before it could stick to it. And the other one I have has a screw here, and I did find some info that some of them that were used on things that caused a lot of grass clippings had too. So this engine originally had a recoil starter, and somebody had taken it off probably because it broke and put a rope wind pulley on it, because it still had a couple broken studs in the, or one broken stud in the original blower housing, plus you could see where they removed the studs from the other two holes. And to make it a rope wind start engine, I wanted to get it back to recoil. I like having a recoil. So far, the engine starts first pull every time, cold or warm. When it's cold, obviously you got to put the little choke lever here. You got to put the choke on, and then I just open it up a little bit until it warms up. It is just slightly cold-blooded, so you got to leave the choke on a little bit while it warms up. But once it warms, just for a minute or two, you can put the choke totally off, and it runs really a sweet running little motor. Road King, you did good in sending me parts for this. Oh, and when you check his channel out, he's made a lot of neat Briggs overhead valve out of a side valve engine. He's made a glass head engine. He's got an inline 4 that he made out of 4 Briggs and Strattons. Just, he's working, got a radial in progress. He and Mike, small engine mechanic, check his channel out too. He maintains or does work on industrial generators, like at hospitals and whatnot, and industrial buildings, and you know, those big, huge diesel ones. So if you're into that, check his channel out. He's a small engine mechanic, but his small engines, probably, some of them probably wouldn't fit in my garage here. Anyway, yeah, so just check it out. I'll put a link to Mike's videos in the description also. If this video is a little convoluted, sorry, I've made it over the course of a week, but I wanted to show these are the only parts of the Tricycle I didn't use. These are the only parts of the engine that I ended up, that was on the back of the head, and I was going to use that to brace this. This was originally back here, and I was going to make a rod, and it just didn't work. I had to put this in to brace that. And this was one of the screws that held this thing to the engine, because I took it out to put a stud in there with a nut to hold the belt into the pulley there so it would release. These were the little caps that held the original pedals on. The bearings and the bolts that held the front wheel to the forks. Now these are the original pedal cranks that I cut off the wheel, so even these are original to the Tricycle. Now I see these Tricycles, I've seen some of these on eBay. Murray made them, and there's a lot of, and I've Googled them too, and there was quite a few different paint schemes they put on the fender here, depending on who they built the bike for and when it was built. This is mid 50s to very early 60s, about the time frame I find these. Where I think they were made was from about, like I say, about the period of the engine. The engine's 54, maybe 54, 55 to about 61, 62. But these wheels are actually still, you know, usable. Somebody wanted to clean them out, repaint the wheel, and cleaning that overspray off the wheel would be no big deal, a little solvent. And even the front wheel can be reused. I see these on eBay and the rubber's missing off the rim. So you can pry these open here all the way around both sides, and you can get that center out, and you can put one from your wheel that has no rubber on it in there and repinch those closed with another one of those with the crank, because like I say, the crank is now there. And these are the little washers that were on this originally that held the pedals, and then the new pedals came with new caps, so why use these old beat up crummy looking ones when I had nice shiny new ones, right? But anyway, that is it. That's the only parts of the Tricycle that are not still on the Tricycle. I think that's pretty amazing that the Tricycle's still mostly all there as it was originally, other than I've extended it 9 inches just to fit the engine, and the seat was originally somewhere in here, and I had to move it back and raise it up just to make it so an adult could fit on it. It's sunny out today, so we're going to make a little video of this outside. It's still a little cold, but it's sunny. It's April 2nd. Let's get it out and make a little video of it. Well, I guess I'm going to be in some of the video in my shadow. I was trying not to get a shadow, but yeah, it came out really nice. Really happy with how everything turned out on it, especially the lettering. Now I adjusted the clutch statically. I haven't adjusted it riding it. See, I can push it just fine without the, you know, push is good. And then when I push this, if I push it, it'll actually turn the engine over. So I think that that is all good. You can see I even got that little decal on it. Turn the gas valve on to the, hopefully it has enough gas in the tank to get it going. Leave the gas valve open a moment, let the float bowl fill up, and we'll give it a pull and see if it starts. Typically this thing starts in one pull. I'm not going to give it a lot of gas, give it a choke. this up, let it warm up a moment, and we'll go for a little ride. So that's how long it takes. So it's about 40 degrees out. Oops, yeah, it's still too cold. I gotta leave the choke on a little longer. See the steam come out, a little bit of water there on the exhaust. Yeah, it is chilly out. We'll let it warm up a minute and then we'll take it for a little ride. Alright, let's see what it does. Oh yeah, that goes. The seat is slippery. Maybe hard to... Yeah, it's going to be hard to hold the camera and ride it with that seat being slippery. The clutch works much better with that longer belt. I just got the engine off of idle right now. I'll set the camera up here for you guys. That's about the perfect speed. That's all the way open. Yeah, this thing, the seat is slippery. I might have to make a cover to, you know, put on the seat that's temporary while I'm riding it and stuff. That's not like the original one, you know, the original seat that had no slipperiness to it. That makes a big difference having that slippery. I might ride it a couple more times and we'll edit you guys up a video. totally happy with the clutch adjustment. That thing worked so nice with that little longer belt. That made all the difference in the world. Yeah, that's came out. I'm totally happy with it. Alright, I'm going to turn the gas valve off, run it out, and this will be the final video on the REO Trikeabout. I'll take it out to my brother's and ride it, and that might be a week or two. And we'll do some video of when we take it out there, because he has a lot more space to ride it. That thing will run a long time on a full bowl of gas. I could probably ride it up and down the driveway 2 or 3 times just on that float bowl. Let's just put it back out in the sun here just to... Yeah, we're just off idling it. It's really a good speed for if I go to a car cruise, so it doesn't, I don't want to mow people down. There you go, there's a good sun shot. Let's turn it around so you can see the other side in the sun too. What do you say? Get my shadow out of there. Yeah, it looks really nice. Just let it run until it runs out of gas. Sounds like it's starting to come down a little bit. Getting ready to run out of gas pretty soon, I think. I think that's probably down enough. The float doesn't need to choke on at dead idle. It'll run until it runs out of gas at dead idle. But we'll turn it off. We'll call that good. Yeah, I'm totally happy with it. Couldn't be happier. I gotta get the little decal for here done yet. No big deal. Anyway, there we go. Completed REO Trikeabout. Does it look like a REO lawnmower? I'll put a photo of Granny running with the lawnmower right here, and then the Trikeabout again, so you can kind of judge for yourself. I was thinking entering in a mini bike and vintage motorcycle show at the Wayne County Fairgrounds, I believe it is, at the end of April. I'll leave a link in the description to that too, and I'll put a little thing here so you can see what it is. There you go. Leave a comment on what you think about it. I'll probably try and take it to some car cruises. It goes at a good speed. I might be able to ride it around a car cruise. You know, you can't go 20 miles an hour through a crowd of people in old cars. That's why I kind of wanted it to go kind of slow. But if you throttle it up, it moves right along. And so the governor set a little lower so it doesn't need the speed. If you turn it too sharp, you know, it feels like it wants to tip over. So you gotta, it's kind of a little careful to ride. And like I say, the seat, as I rode it a couple times, the seat wasn't as slippery. Yeah, it's not so maybe it just needed to be sat on a little bit. I just won't wax the seat ever, because I can't imagine sitting on it with the seat been waxed. But there we go. We'll get the Trikeabout in the sun. But anyway, if you like the Trikeabout and the video, definitely leave a like button. And if you like my channel, at 348 engine icon will subscribe you. And thank you for watching my video.